Check, check. All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the ribbon cutting for Uplands Phase 2. My name is Patrick Stewart. I am with Pennrose. We are immensely appreciative of everybody being here this morning to celebrate with us. I know that we are on a little bit of a time crunch, so my task is to try to move us through quickly. But I want to make sure I spend the most time acknowledging all the contributions, all of the hard work that we have been so grateful to receive from so many of you this morning. That's always the hard part, when I get kind of amped up and nervous about these events, because I'm just afraid I'm going to leave somebody out, and there's so many people to thank. So that's what I want to start with. So first of all, I want to thank our partners. So we have a lot to celebrate today and a lot to be grateful for. And to start with, partnership. 16 years ago, we formed Uplands Visionaries LLC alongside a stellar group of local leaders and entrepreneurs called Uplands Visionaries LLC. The Honorable Wayne Curry, rest in peace, who we wish could be here to celebrate with us. His role is carried on by his estate and by Sheila Curry. Dean Harrison, who I saw this morning, Kevin Johnson, Michael Cryer, and more recently, we've been extremely proud to be able to welcome into the partnership and extend the community partnership that we began 16 years ago with the Uplands Community Association, now a formal part of the Uplands Visionaries development team and the ownership structure. So on behalf of Pennrose, our deepest and most sincere gratitude to our partners for staying the course with us. We couldn't have done any of this without you. All of these victories, they're so much more meaningful because of all the stakeholders gathered here today. We are honored to have the presence of many of them to share words and who really own a piece of that vision and helped bring it to life with contributions both big and small. So today, we're celebrating a lot. I keep saying that. In place of what had been for years an empty lot, for years before that had been literally a ghost town, rows and rows of vacant, boarded up buildings. We've all worked hard together to transform this site, turning the vision into reality. Today, specifically in Phase 2, we're celebrating the completion of 150 beautiful, brand new, affordable apartment homes, including ones for families at all income levels, ones for persons with disabilities, for singles, couples, young professionals, single parents, people who have been experiencing homelessness, all with access to the clubhouse, to the amenities that we built in the prior phases, with 2 new playgrounds, Energy Star and Zero Energy Ready Homes certified, rooftop solar panels, granite countertops, which I don't even have in my home, electric vehicle charging stations. I was hoping to plug my car in today. And actually in many units, I'm hoping we might be able to see a couple today, city skyline views. So looking out of your living room or kitchen window down, looking east towards downtown Baltimore, which is really cool. So all of this in rental phase 2 is developed through a complex twinning structure, utilizing both 4% tax credits and 9% competitive tax credits, totaling a $53 million investment. In addition to that, over $28 million worth of brand new infrastructure and historic investment in the future growth and prosperity of West Baltimore, which will also support the next phase of homeownership, which will bring another about 220 more brand new for sale homes, both affordable, middle income, and market rate, along with a new generation of residents planning roots in West Baltimore. So we're this close to finalizing an agreement. I'm kind of winking at some of my friends over at DHCD about that, with a national home builder to build the homes on these lots, and look forward to seeing those residents hopefully moving in towards the latter part of next year and building on all of this progress. And beyond what we've been able to accomplish in phase 2, I think we can see the impacts of all of this progress happening across the street, where we've got 2 new grocery stores just announced just a few weeks ago. 2 grocery stores. So it's, yeah, there you go. Which I think, among other things, is proof of how Investments in housing can help not only stabilize neighborhoods, but catalyze larger revitalizations and economic development on a neighborhood level. So establishing this as a neighborhood of choice, more residents to support local businesses, more children with access to 21st century schools, Wildwood and Mary Rodman. And I think this is made of wood, I'm knocking on wood, one day with access to public transportation via the red line out front running down Edmondson Avenue. So a lot to celebrate once again, and deeply appreciate everybody being here. So with that said, I'm gonna get myself out of the podium, and I'm gonna make way for the Honorable Mayor Brandon Scott, who obviously needs no introduction. But I'll say a few words anyway. We would not be here today without the direct support of Mayor Scott and his administration, who saw this project, I will say, in a sense, sort of languishing, particularly during the COVID pandemic years, and saw the opportunity to take advantage of the once-in-a-lifetime ARPA opportunity and figured out how to get those dollars, leverage them to match the other public and private funds already committed, and just keep the momentum going at Uplands and so many other deserving initiatives around the city. I was saying to Commissioner Kennedy, I can't believe, I think it was two and a half years ago, we announced the allocation of those ARPA funds, $12 million to support these phases, just about 2 years ago on this site. And today, again, just deeply honored to have Mayor Scott with us. Congratulations, by the way, and well deserved. We look forward to working with you to round this out. Come on up.
Thank you, Patrick. Good morning, everybody. All right, listen. We sound like this place used to sound when there was nothing here. We should be celebrating today, Mr. Smallwood. We got to bring the energy up. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. That's more like it. What a great day for Baltimore, but in particular for Southwest Baltimore. And Patrick, let me say thank you to you, to Ivy. Ivy, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. To that she's all of our boss, if you don't know. To the team who have remained committed to this neighborhood, and for all of us to working to getting us to this point today. And I do want to take a moment to mention all of the city folks that have been involved. Every agency, we know you just talked about the ARPA funds, and we know there were a lot of questions about where and how and why I was spending these ARPA funds on projects like this one. But for those of us who have lived in Baltimore for a long time, and those of us who remember what used to be here, and then would follow with the first phase, and then would follow with the languishing of this property just sitting on itself for a very, very long time, we know how important it was to use those once-in-a-lifetime funds to jumpstart things that should have been finished but were not, for whatever reason, and what impact that can have in us, that $12 million and that $28 million total in infrastructure of investing that into this neighborhood while simultaneously investing other amounts of millions of dollars across the street in the Emerson Village Shopping Center. Because neighborhoods like this one, this side of town, have been ignored for far too long, and that they have been disinvested in. And the fact that Councilman Gray and Councilman, this normally your first thing isn't something so pleasant. You've been blessed the last couple of weeks. You walk in, you got new grocery stores, new housing developments. You know, when I walked in, I had COVID. When I became the council president, we didn't have internet because we were hacked. But so you should consider yourself blessed today. But when you think about the fact that the councilman's predecessor and I, who wanted to be here today, but he can't, his new boss told him he couldn't. His new boss is me. But that's a joke. But the fact that he and I, as two young black men in the year of 2023, had to go door to door in Emerson Village to get black homeowners to sign a piece of paper that would allow a black man to own the Emerson Village Shopping Center in order for us to work to get one grocery store on top of another grocery store shows you why this project in this neighborhood is so important. And I think that we have to be reminded of the struggles and all the things that have happened here, and why people like Mr. Smallwood and other leaders in this community have been down. Everybody that has stood in my position and everybody who will came before me, every council person, all of our delegates, Delegate Ruff, Delegate Rosenberg, everybody, about why we could not let this go. They've been through too much. And I want to thank my folks, Alice and the team at DHCD, Transportation. I want to thank Director Kearney and the Office of Recovery, Finance, Planning, the Law Department, all of them, but in particularly Alice and Shamaya for their leadership and seeing our portion to get us through this point, because our equitable development strategy depends on equally on creating affordability in high market neighborhoods as it does supporting and building wealth and values our historically disinvested neighborhoods like this one. This exemplifies that plan. This today, that vision, you can see the reality of it. When I was coming down Route 40, Emerson Avenue, I actually just now saw someone moving in with a U-Haul. It's real, and people are actually living here, and they don't even have to go out into the cold on December 31st to see the fireworks. They can just look out their window and see them. This is the city is still only beginning to bring this kind of investment to our neighborhoods, and we will continue to work with everyone and look forward to working with Pennrose on the next phase and being here again as we open new home ownership opportunities for folks in the city of Baltimore. Maybe the councilman might be looking for a new house, maybe be a little bigger by then. So I just want to say thank you, but most importantly, congratulations. It's been a long time. When Uplands first started with the first phase, I was in college, clearly wasn't thinking about having kids or being married. Now I'm 40 and going to have 3. It's been a long time, but today we have shown what happens when you stick to it, when you invest, and when you work as partners. So thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Scott. Appreciate all those kind words. Making me feel a little bit old because I was out of college when all this started up. So speaking of going back in time, think about the origins. In a lot of ways, what we're celebrating today started with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development working with the city to make this entire 60-plus acre parcel available for redevelopment, and contributing well over $30 million in HUD upfront grant funds, without which none of this would be possible. And that's throughout all phases of this redevelopment, not to mention their patience and flexibility through many revisions to our various agreements. And I also should note in the phase 2 housing component, facilitating more than 10 million of loans through the FHA 221D4 program. So here today representing HUD is Stephanie Statz, Director of HUD's Baltimore Field Office.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing? Thank you, Mayor Scott. Great to see everyone. Thank you, Patrick. It's a little tough to speak following the mayor, so I will keep it brief. I really just wanted to make sure that, one, in addition to introducing myself, I'm Stephanie Statz. I'm the HUD Field Office Director for the jurisdiction of Baltimore. And I want to give a shout out to my colleague, Bob Iber, who's kind of tucked in the back there, but I think many of you in this room have worked with him over many years, and specifically on this project. And Bob is now serving as senior housing advisor, man who knows all the things, and has been a wonderful resource for me in the past couple years that I have been with HUD. I was here about a year and a half ago. I was saying earlier it felt like yesterday, but I was here about a year and a half ago for the groundbreaking. And before that, I hadn't been with HUD very long. And so I went to Bob and I said, hey, can you give me a little background about this project? And boy, did I ever get it. Because there is a lot of history here and a lot of background. And so, I received that in the best way. But part of what I learned about is, that this was once a really vibrant community. It fell into neglect for many reasons that the mayor certainly referred to. And that there was a lot of controversy, a whole lot of controversy, as everything got kind of repositioned to bring us here today. And so what we see now, from my view, is really kind of coming full circle. I know there's still work to do, but certainly coming full circle through vision and partnership and commitment at all levels of the public and private sectors. And, also what Bob helped me understand too is the vision about, creating an urban village, really having an inclusive neighborhood that added to the aesthetic of the broader community, not kind of like a standalone pocket apart from it, to ensure a mixed income community that didn't segregate by socioeconomic status. And it was that vision and belief in the potential of these, 60 plus acres that brought together HUD, the city, DHCD, and many others that you see in the program book in partnership. And with commitments to act on the vision. And again, that's what brought us here today. So HUD's commitment and HUD's vision, HUD's mission rather, is to create strong, sustainable, inclusive communities and quality, affordable housing for all. And so here that included the $30 million upfront grant that Patrick had referenced to support infrastructure that became a catalyst for many of the other commitments. I learned actually just yesterday that there's also through the city a home investment. Home funds have been invested as well. And I think as importantly, and maybe the most important thing, is the personal and professional commitment of everyone here who has made this happen. So it takes a village to make a village, as they say, and congratulations to all. And thank you.
Thank you, Director Stats. Appreciate that. So I'm gonna, these things happen, but we're gonna call an audible. And because we are honored to be joined today by Delegate Malcolm Ruff and Delegate Samuel Rosenberg representing District 41. So I want to give each of them an opportunity to speak and thought that this would be a good time to do that. I just want to say briefly that nothing like this on this scale could happen without close partnership and alignment of goals and vision between the local, the city, and the state level. And I know that Delegate Rosenberg, Delegate Ruff, and your colleagues, Senator Carter, Delegate Attar, representing District 41, understand the connection between revitalization like this, the housing component, the economic development component, and how that drives improvement and growth for the neighborhood and for the city as a whole. So we appreciate your support. So I want to let you decide. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Delegate Malcolm Ruff. Honored to be here, Mr. Mayor. To my colleagues, thank you so very much for allowing me to be a part of this historic occasion. As many of you know, me and my Park Heights brother, he told me I was sitting on the wrong side because Park Heights was supposed to be over here. But me and my Park Heights brother, we grew up top. But my closest cousin, his mother lived right on Glen Hunt Avenue, right here in Rognell Heights. And his mother used to let us go play, up at Seminole Park and all around the neighborhood. But you better believe she told us, y'all better not cross over Emerson Avenue. Y'all better not go to. It was like when Mufasa said to Simba, don't go into everything beyond the light. Don't you go there, because this was here, right? So to see to see the renovation of this neighborhood from being a small child is just amazing. My hat goes off to every single stakeholder in this project, every single person who laid a brick, every single person who poured into this community. You are to be commended. You have done such an amazing service for this community, and it is all about Baltimore's renaissance. So when I got into office, when I was appointed in July of last year, I heard a lot of noise in this community about how everybody in the top of our district, all the resources were being poured into the top of the district. And it really incensed me. It really hurt my feelings because I love this neighborhood. And right now we are making the push to really make sure that we are intentional about this neighborhood. So Delegate Rosenberg and I are working right now to work on renovating the track over at Emerson Avenue. Thank you. Thank you. We're working on renovating Leakin Park, as you know, from the House Bill 1358, which I was able to lead and work with our colleagues. We're going to make the first state park in the city of Baltimore ever. Right? We're going to change the narrative of that park, and this is an amenity that will be enjoyed by people that live right here. You have the Peace Park at Still Meadow right down the street, a $2 million investment by the federal government. This is a vibrant area, and it is on the comeback. Our renaissance is imminent, and I could not be more excited about it. We need to continue the partnerships. A renaissance does not occur without government, without the private sector, without law enforcement. Where's Officer Davis? You still here, Roderick? Oh, he left. Oh, here he is. My man. All of us must be a part of it. All of us must be invested. All of us must be committed. And you will see the results just like what you see around us right now. This is the empirical evidence of a commitment to this neighborhood, and I stand up on it like a rock and will continue to do that for years to come. So thank you all so very much for allowing me to be a part of this, for allowing us to pour into this, and let's keep the momentum going. Thank you all.
My friend and colleague, Delegate Ruff, honored every stakeholder who's helped make this day possible, from people laying bricks to people investing money. We welcome all of you to come to our old neighborhoods. I'm a little further north, above Northern Parkway, but Pimlico is where we're going to invest next, along with other places in our district. But this is an example of what can be done, what should be done when government works with the private sector and with communities to improve communities. We are in the midst, we've gotten a lot of, you're aware, press, because we've gotten press about what's happening in Park Heights, but that is our next step. When I first began my career in public service, almost 50 years ago, working, getting the Section 8 program off the ground for the city housing department, we didn't come to Uplands because it didn't meet the standards. But we had a housing department, as we do now, that wants to make all of our communities better. And that's what we're celebrating today. And under the mayor's leadership and under Commissioner Kennedy's leadership, we will do that on a regular basis in all parts of Baltimore City, not just in the 41st Legislative District. But it's an honor to be here. We wrote letters in support to help you get state dollars, and we look forward to doing it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Thank you, Delegate Rosenberg. Thank you, Delegate Ruff. Appreciate that. Among other things, I always appreciate hearing the personal connections to the story and how this has evolved over time. And I just want to say that it's an immense source of pride for us as an organization and our partners to be playing a role in that type of transformation that means something personal on the neighborhood level. And so I hope we've done good by everybody. I feel like we have. Thank you. Perfect segue, by the way, into our next speaker. So the housing component of this project relied on not only tax credits, but more than $5 million in rental housing program funds. Those funds are not available without the support and the understanding within the state delegation of what they mean in terms of investments into Baltimore communities. And so having the support of District 41 and its delegation is immensely helpful. So thank you again. For our next speaker, at a time when Maryland is facing a shortage of nearly 100,000 housing units, we're really fortunate to have the leadership of Secretary Day, his entire department, including CDA, the Community Development Administration, which is led by our next speaker, and they oversee the department's critical affordable housing lending and tax credit programs. Through multiple sources, DHCD and CDA contributed, as I noted, nearly $6 million in loan funds to these two rental phases, in addition to the low-income housing tax credit allocations, which enabled private investment of over $23 million to support the $53 million total investment. So we're deeply grateful to the department staff and leadership, and honored to have Greg Hare with us today to speak.
Good morning, everybody. And I will say, I won't keep the Park Heights train going too long, but as Patrick mentioned, this also has a personal connection to me. Unlike Delegate Ruff, coming from Park Heights, I actually took the subway up to Emerson High School and crossed that street for 4 years. And I will say, it was really a really interesting journey for me, because not my algebra teacher, because my algebra teacher failed me in 9th grade. And I will say 3.846 is the ending GPA when I earned my MBA, so I could count after all. But when I went to Emerson Westside High School, I actually learned carpentry, and I do want to shout out my carpentry teacher, David Wheeler, who really poured into me and really helped me understand what it meant to have an impact, and to the City of Baltimore, who had just amazing programs, partnering with Emerson Westside High School to do a carpentry program, rehabbing houses across Baltimore City. So needless to say, I've been at this for a real long time. And so before I go too deep, I know we got a really short window here, so I just want to say congratulations again to everybody who made this project happen. It means so much to me and all the residents of Baltimore. And on behalf of Governor Moore, Lieutenant Governor Miller, and Secretary Day, just a thank you to the Pennrose team, to the City of Baltimore, Mayor Scott for your leadership, Alice for your leadership, thank you. For our folks at HABC who contributed to this project, our federal partners at HUD, to Harkins Builders, the architect, Wallace Roberts Todd, 2 Point Studios, to the Pennrose management team who we're entrusting to lead this project and make sure it stays in good hands for many years to come. Thank you all for your assistance in making this project happen. And to all the partners, I know I can never catch them all, Patrick, but to all the partners involved in this development, just thank you. As Patrick mentioned, the state contributed nearly $30 million. Again, I won't stick on that math, but $29,845,076. Mr. Smith, and just at a really high level, though, this investment really represents a commitment to affordable housing and an ongoing revitalization in Baltimore City. We all know Maryland faces an affordable housing crisis. We recognize that the lack of affordable housing is holding Baltimore back and Maryland's economy back. And so earlier this month, Governor Moore announced early this year, Governor Moore announced the Reinvest Baltimore initiative, which includes a council that will tap key community, corporate, philanthropic, and government leaders to move at least 5,000 vacant properties into home ownership. And so we look forward to that home ownership component coming here. And so we look for the other positive impacts of that over the next 5 years. We believe this is a comprehensive and community-driven approach to develop green space, create affordable housing, mixed-use housing, and expand opportunities for small business owners. And so we know this is going to generate jobs and revitalize communities just like this throughout Baltimore. And so Reinvest Baltimore is not just an investment in our communities, it's an investment in our families and our future, and it really signals to the city that we're on the clock. And Uplands serves as an example of how to do things right and how to improve Baltimore's neighborhoods. And so I'll skip a lot of what I was going to say because I took enough jabs at my algebra teacher. But our work to house city residents, improve neighborhoods brick by brick, continues on, and that will be the foundation of the city's resurgence. And so this will reduce vacant properties all across the city and leverage our affordable housing opportunities like we've leveraged here to revitalize programs to support communities just like Uplands. And so I'm confident that we have the right people in the right seats. I'm confident that we have the leadership and the partnerships to make this happen. And so congratulations to everybody. Look forward to the next phase.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it. I joked at the groundbreaking that Commissioner Kennedy must have been relieved to get her staff back after we closed financing. It didn't really work out like that. But so I want to say the Baltimore Department of Housing and Community Development, its leadership under Commissioner Kennedy, its staff. I saw Stacy here today. Can't say enough about Stacy's involvement as sort of the institutional memory of this project in a lot of ways, but have just been so instrumental throughout the entire life of this project. All the intricacies of the multiple local and federal funding sources coming through DHC into the project, totaling over 23 million, if I have my math right. Maybe I might need to check with Secretary Hare's algebra teacher, through both the rental and the infrastructure phases. But the DHCD team has played a critical role in this project's success and deserve a ton of credit. And on a personal level, I just want to say I appreciate Commissioner Kennedy's down-to-earth perspective, the humility, the accessibility that she brings to her role, and her deep commitment to the mission. Wouldn't be here without you. Come on up.
Good morning, everyone. This is a very, I know that everybody ahead of me has said this, but this is a really exciting day, especially for those that have been involved in the Uplands project since day one. I want to give entire congratulations, heartfelt congratulations to the entire team, Pennrose, Ivy, Tom, Patrick, the entire Pennrose team, but especially the Uplands visionary group, visionaries, because they are visionaries. And this is an example of how to bring community and other members into a development project like this. And I think it's a shining example. And if you think back to when it was started about 16 years ago, it was on the forefront in terms of innovation of how to bring different members of the community together. And with the addition of now the Community Association, it just continues to kind of take that innovation and truly have a vision for the future to get a project like this done and have it be inclusive of so many different people. As many said, it feels like yesterday that we are here for the groundbreaking. I also want to say that I did expect that maybe we would get a little bit more staff time back at the time, but really in my heart, I knew that we still had a lot more to do. I do want to thank Stacy Freed on the DHCD team. Without her leadership and that institutional knowledge of pulling together all of the different parts of the pieces of the puzzle. And when I say the parts of the pieces of the puzzle, this is like one of those 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzles that you see people doing and trying to like move, and it not the 500 piece and not the 1,000 piece. This really was and is a 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzle, and Stacy has been at the forefront of helping to get those pieces and parts into place. So I just want to make sure that everybody gives her a thank you on the way out for Stacy's work on this. Thinking about today, I went back down memory lane a little bit, reflecting on how we got here, where we've been, and what the renewal plan for this area looked like and looks like. And we've actually achieved and are achieving a number of the different things that we put out in a plan, which sometimes, as those in government and community know, sometimes the plan doesn't actually go the way you think it might go. But here we are doing that. The plan aimed to establish a positive and identifiable image for this area, and I think we've definitely achieved that. It wanted to provide a modern urban housing product for diverse economic groups. Check mark, we've done that. Bring a general physical improvement to the area, coordinated public improvements like the street and utility improvements and our infrastructure. check. We know how much money has gone into the infrastructure on this part, which was one of the biggest pieces of actually getting this project moving, and why it had stalled for a long time was the infrastructure dollars that was needed to move this project forward. And, the creation of internal parks to supplement the natural area of Uplands as a whole, and the Uplands Park. And, I would say check mark, we're good on that one too. But really what's most notable is that we've created more spaces and more places for the community members and those that want to live in this community, a place to call home. And that is one of the most important things when I think about the work that we're doing at DHCD, when I think about the vision that Mayor Scott has set forth for the city, when we talk about equitable neighborhood development, when we talk about, the staff knows at DHCD, and they hear me say it all the time, that our job as city government officials in the Department of Housing and Community Development is to show up to support the vision of the communities and to show up and do no harm. We are trying to heal our communities, and we have seen over the years too many communities where harm has been, inflicted upon those, and where we actually are trying to heal. And I think that that is one of the things, having this area have, being sitting kind of dormant for the amount of time that it was inflicting harm on the community. So really coming together, putting heads down, and putting Uplands was the first project that we put down in the brainstorming session at DHCD on how to use ARPA dollars. I want to thank Chief Kearney, Patrick, the entire ARPA team for working with Stacy on moving this one. We said from the beginning that this was going to be the first one out of the gate, that we were ready to go, that we'd get it going with the team. We've done that, and it took another piece of the puzzle and everybody putting it together and figuring out how to make everything work and move. So overall, this is another success story, and we have more work to do, more work to come. I can't wait for the homeownership phase. Wink, wink, wink. Back to Patrick on that one. We know that that's coming, and we're all working diligently on getting that done, because in terms of the spirit of inclusivity and doing no harm, we also don't have time to waste to get that homeownership opportunity up and off the ground, and vertical construction and all the infrastructure and continued. So just thank you again to everybody, and congratulations to every single person, and especially the community that's been part of this.
All right. Commissioner Kennedy has now reminded me of how I'm going to be spending most of 2025, which is totally fine with me. That's what we want. Thank you, Commissioner Kennedy. So our next speaker, it's easy to assume that receiving a massive influx of federal funding is just purely a gift, money from the sky, right? I don't think anyone truly understands the challenges of figuring out how to actually get those funds out the door, how to equitably distribute them, given all of the competing priorities in Baltimore, in Southwest Baltimore, West Baltimore, and beyond, not to mention the strings that come with it. So fortunately, under Shemaiah Kearney's leadership, the Mayor's Office of Recovery Programs has proven themselves up to the tasks. This project would literally have been stuck in the mud if not for the historic ARPA investments totaling $12 million to enable the rental phases to proceed and to catalyze a generational investment in the city's infrastructure. So I want to welcome up Shemaiah Kearney, Chief Recovery Officer, Mayor's Office of Recovery Programs.
Good morning, everyone. Again, I am Shemaiah Kearney. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the Chief Recovery Officer for the Mayor's Office of Recovery Programs. I want to start off first by saying thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today, to be with community. So oftentimes, it sometimes feels like we can be the ivory tower where we sit high and look low, but that's not the case. This is really an administration and a leadership that wants to be a part of community. And so being here today is just one demonstrable example of that. 2004 is when the Uplands Development Plan was approved by the Planning Commission and by the city and mayor of Baltimore City. 2004 is when I began graduate school at the Clark Atlanta University, majoring in community and economic development, and at that time, dreaming of opportunities like this to help create community. At the time, I wanted to be, well, I decided that I couldn't be a lawyer after I did poorly on the LSAT, but that's another conversation. That's another conversation. But having a conversation with my mother to let her know that I was going back to school because I wanted to be a part of change and I wanted to do things for community and make a difference. In 2004 at Clark Atlanta University, I could not have imagined that I would be standing in front of you right now, being a part of such an important project in a city that really needed it. I am originally from Compton, California, and when people ask me why Baltimore, it is simply because I recognize and know how media narrative can change what people think about a city. When you think of Compton, California, you don't think of beautiful streets and nice homes and all of those things. You typically think of things that are negative, and I found that to be the case about Baltimore. But Baltimore is so much more than what the media sometimes makes it out to be. And having the opportunity to be a part of things like this lets us know that Baltimore, as the mayor would say, this is Baltimore's time and Baltimore's renaissance. It was just a year and a half ago that we stood here breaking ground on this facility or on this area. And who would have thunk that a year and a half later we would be here looking at erected buildings that are going to be a part of community and residences for people who really need it, of all demographics, of all socioeconomic statuses. Who would have thunk just a year and a half ago? So really, this is an opportunity to say thank you to all of the community partners who have been a part of this project, to the community who has continued to advocate and never, ever gave up on this building, on this area, on this community, because you knew that we could do better by you. So thank you for the opportunity to do that. Thank you to Mayor Scott for his vision, for his leadership. Thank you for delivering on a promise to this community, because what would have happened had it been another 20 years, right? None of us want to think about that. But please know that it is because of the leadership of this mayor, this administration, that this opportunity came to pass. And thank you again for letting this little girl from Compton help you all realize a dream. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Kearney. Once again, just love and appreciate being able to hear the personal connections to what we're celebrating today. So our next speaker is someone that's been actively involved in helping move this project forward and advocate on behalf of this neighborhood for the last several years, working with his predecessor, former Councilman Burnett. So Councilman Gray has been a tireless advocate for District 8, and I think it's unique, and we deeply appreciate having that sense of continuity to be able to continue a conversation that we've already had with Councilman Gray over the years, and to be able to continue that partnership as we round out the final components of the project. And I also want to acknowledge former Councilman Burnett, who, who has always been deeply invested and cared deeply about the success of not just this project, but how it fits into a larger neighborhood context. And so we also wouldn't be here without him. I wish he was here to celebrate with us, but I understand why. So with that, I want to say congratulations to Councilman Gray, and come on up.
I'm a little short, so let me fix this for you guys. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. There we go. It's an incredible honor to stand here today for the ribbon cutting for Phase 2 of the Upland development. This is deeply personal for me. As a kid growing up, I spent many weekends here at the old Uplands apartments back in the 1990s. And firsthand, I saw the deterioration, the disinvestment, and the challenges this community faced. So to stand here today is truly inspiring, and we have to thank a bunch of people in this room. First, I want to thank you, Mayor Scott. Thank you for using the ARPA funds to make sure that we close the gap on this project, and we saw it to completion. Your leadership has been invaluable, and we thank you here in the southwest part of the city. Thank you. Also want to thank former Councilman Burnett, my predecessor, for his tireless advocacy to ensure the redevelopment of the Uplands remained a priority. What many of you don't know, we had a few mayors, and this is not taking shots, but and I was there for some of the meetings, and a lot of meetings I was not there, where Councilman Burnett advocated for this project, and it took Mayor Scott and his leadership to ensure that it happened. So thank you to Councilman Burnett for your tireless advocacy. Thank you to Pennrose. Thank you to Ivy Carter. Thank you to Patrick. Thank you to all the project partners for truly committing to building something that reflects the needs and the aspirations of this community, which is luxury and affordability hand in hand happening right here on the Emerson Avenue corridor. The Uplands Community Association and David Smallwood, thank you. Thank you. Your unwavering fight for inclusion and progress has ensured that this redevelopment is more than just new buildings. It's a community-driven project that respects and uplifts the people who have called this area home for generations. Phase 2 is adding 150 brand new apartments while providing critical infrastructure upgrades from utilities, sidewalks, and even roads. We can look outside these windows, although a little grainy, and we can even see the pavement and the paving of new infrastructure to make opportunities for home ownership, which is what this is all about. And ultimately, this will be a walkable community with 719 for sale and rental homes and over 10,000 square feet of retail and community space, fingers crossed. But what is most important to me is that we're improving this area while honoring the people that have historically lived here. This redevelopment isn't about replacing a community. It's about restoring and revitalizing a community. As your councilman, I'm excited to work with the people of the Uplands community and the folks all along the Emerson Avenue corridor and those communities that touch this to make sure that we see this project to completion. Together, we're building not just homes, but a brighter and stronger future for generations to come. So as these cameras are here today, I just want to make a plea to everyone, a clarion call. If you are new to this area and you're driving by for the first time, join the Uplands. Look around this corridor and join what's great in this renaissance. And if you're somebody who moved away in the 90s, in the early 2000s because of this investment, come back home. We have the amenities. We have two grocery stores coming. That's two. But what we need you guys to come back home and make the village what it was. And for all the new folks to come about and join the village for what it's going to be. So thank you to everyone that's been a part of this journey, and let's celebrate this monumentous occasion, and thank you all for allowing me to speak today.
Thank you, Councilman Gray. Where's Chris on our marketing team? I think we have our new lease up slogan, come back home. So let's get the signs up. I love that. Our next speaker, one of the things that we're most proud of with this project, I've said this before and we kind of talked about it, but to literally involve an actual partnership with the community. Uplands Community Association, who has been instrumental in playing that outreach role, that advocacy role within the community, within the neighborhood, and representing their constituents and fighting for resources within the neighborhood, for them to be a part of the partnership and the ownership structure, I think is something unique, worth celebrating, that we're really proud of and really grateful for. So our next speaker, David Smallwood, he is the head of the Uplands Community Association. He's been an absolute pleasure to work with, as has the entire organization. Their patience, their support, all the work they do, again, in advocating for the needs of this community and its residents, and to know that the work that we've done here at Uplands plays a role in continuing that is an honor to us. Come on up, David.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to see everybody here. I will be brief, and I guess the good thing about being so far down on the agenda, I don't have to say much because everything has been said. Just want to thank everybody who's making this possible. I'd like to thank the mayor and people from Baltimore City, our state representatives, Pennrose and the visionary team, and everybody who's been a part of this. This has been a long time coming, and we're so proud of what we're seeing. We just want to thank everyone, especially Pennrose, for making us a part of the visionary team and being able to bring our vision as a community to this project. I would be remiss if I did not thank Ms. Ivy Carter, who has been here from the very beginning and who When I first stepped into the role as president, she spoon-fed me. She was there. She answered my calls. And we as residents here at Uplands, we celebrate this, and we're happy and we're proud to be residents of Upland. And I just want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. And most of all, I want everyone to know that we have presidents of the community association that's working hard in the community to make this desirable, not only for residents, but also to do business, because there's a lot going on in Emerson Avenue, Carter, and we're proud of what's happening. And most of all, I want to thank the residents of Uplands for your patience, your diligence, your vision, because trust and believe, when something's going on, they hear something blowing up here or a truck riding through the community, they call me. And I call Patrick. So we're just happy to be here this morning. We thank everybody and want to keep this train moving. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. I want to ask for members of the media on behalf of Mayor Scott, because he's on a tight tight schedule this morning, if there are any questions before we get to the ribbon cutting portion.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Mayor Scott. Carson Swift with the Baltimore Sun. I was just wondering if you're concerned about the impact of a potential government shutdown on getting 100% of that funding for the Key Bridge.
Obviously, everyone should be, right? And we know that, listen, the government shutdown will impact the Key Bridge, but will also impact people who live in Baltimore, who work for the federal government, and their families' ability to get food. It will impact people's ability to get services, and we hope that Congress acts, and that they act on according on what their job and responsibility, not what someone who's not elected told them to do or not to do. Good in the back? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Scott. So we're going to invite Sandy DeFelice, who's with M&T Bank, M&T Realty Capital Corporation, as the Senior Managing Director and FHA Platform Manager. And then we need to kind of hustle out of the tent, get our ribbon cutting photo op done. I just want to say thanks to M&T, Sandy and her team for facilitating over $10 million in financing for Uplands 2A and 2B through HUD's FHA program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations. I'm so excited to be here. This is one of the best parts of being an FHA lender. Transformation. This is what we do. So, Mayor Scott, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a great supporter. Pennrose, you're always an incredible partner. We're honored to be an integral part of the development and transformation of this community. I'm going to be very brief because I know the main event is the ribbon cutting. So, congratulations. I don't know what more can be said. If anyone knows me from the FHA world, we just go. Be excited, enjoy, celebrate your day. All the partners in this room, we work with you on a daily basis on a number of transactions, but this one is very special to me. Being here in the city of Baltimore, our hometown, state of Maryland, it's a fantastic opportunity. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Now it's off to the main event.